Hello and welcome to GoaCast2024, the official podcast of GoaFest. I'm Ankita Pahwa and we are here at GoaFest. I'm sitting with Mr. Ujaya Shakya, the founder of Outreach Nepal. Welcome to GoaCast, Mr. Ujaya. Thank you so much for sparing out the time to do this. So tell us, what are some of the emerging trends in Nepal's market per se that businesses should be aware of to capitalize on in the future, and particularly for those who are looking to expand internationally?
Basically, if you are trying to penetrate Nepal, it's very important to acknowledge that it's a very youthful country. Almost 72% of the population is below 35. And the youth has aspirations, which is bigger than what the country has to offer. That's what we feel. And we can see that instances from the activities they do. For example, one set of youth, like a lot of them, in fact, like there are at least 100,000 young Nepalese going outside to third countries to study. Most probably, they are also coming back home, bringing the best practices from the third countries. Because India data we don't have. When I studied here, many years back. So similarly, there are a lot of migrant workers who goes to Middle East, Korea, Malaysia, these kind of countries to work. In fact, they are almost contributing 23% of our GDP. In fact, our largest GDP contributor is currently the remittance money.
So, how does the current landscape of Nepal's market look like?
65% is television penetration, right? 62% is internet right now. Smartphone telecom penetration is almost 135%. Most probably there is a lot of duplications and a lot of tourism economy as well. People buy SIM and throw it away most probably. Therefore, 135% of mobile penetrations. Print has around 10 to 12%, but there is some challenging time they are facing, as we all know. Radio has a good penetration, but I think in terms of listenership, they are around 60%. But they are, like, Nepal is also divided into 7 provinces. So among the 7 provinces, there are 2 provinces where radio still become very, very relevant.
Wow. So do you think we can look at adapting any strategies to effectively navigate the obstacles that may arise, while businesses try to expand and just navigate the whole scene?
No, what I feel is a lot of time what has been happening is a lot of time the marketing decisions in Nepal, particularly for the global brands, also for a lot of Indian brands, are being made from cities in Bombay, like cities like Bombay or Delhi or Calcutta, Bangalore, like from the Indian cities, right? And a lot of time there is a feeling that it's just an extension market. But I think it's no more like that. It might have worked for them in the beginning, but now if you want to deep dive, and penetrate further into semi-urban and maybe rural Nepal as well, the context is changing very fast. Like I said, because the youth has aspiration that is larger than what the country has to offer. Therefore, you need to understand those youth cultures.
Yeah.
And we've seen that there are local brands who's done this and been very, very successful. And looking at those success stories, few of the global brands also started to adapt in a recent time. So that there are already some success stories around it, which we can kind of see it and learn from.
So the digital transformation, the buzzword AI, it's upon us.
Yeah.
How do you look at this transformation? Do you think AI is a threat or it's a tool that complements the human creativity? So what's your take? What do you think?
As we all know, it's become a cliche now.
Yeah.
Like everybody's talking about AI, and it's not just disturbing advertising or advertising in Nepal. It's disturbing everything, right? But I think it will help us to understand consumer more deeply, because of the kind of data and predictive data that it can generate, right? And therefore, in that sense, I feel that it will only help us. We just have to learn to use it.
Definitely. So what opportunities do you think it brings for the local brands, and how can they leverage it? In what ways?
Basically understanding their consumer, the core consumers, because it's not just about doing a mass distribution, it's also about hyper local, right? Hyper local is a buzzword,
Yeah.
Therefore, when you think of a small country like Nepal as well, a lot of time people feel, like I said, people think that it's a very mountainous country, it's just two cities. It's not like that. Like, there are a lot of other smaller towns that is becoming bigger than what we have expected. Even when I travel beyond Kathmandu, I see the kind of extension that has happened to these smaller towns. And because of which, I suppose there are also a lot of regional brands that has become very successful. Therefore, this kind of technology will help them to enhance their relevance further.
That's true. Let's come back to the topic of the fest, adaptability.
Yes.
I want to know what's your definition of effective adaptability? How do you see it?
I think, like, whatever we are trying to do, like, for example, like, currently this is a podcast, right?
Yeah.
Therefore, people are saying that radio is not relevant, but radio is audio medium, and this is also an audio medium, right? And we see that a lot of us are listening to podcasts every morning. Like, at least I do it whenever I'm walking or like going somewhere, and I see a lot of my friends doing it. Therefore, only the things are changing, the means are same. Similarly, therefore, adaptability is what is required for everything around us, not just on the business, the kind of business we do. Therefore, I think we have to be very flexible and open-minded to all the new ideas that come along to us.
Of course. And finally, Mr. Shakya, what personal message would you like to share with our listeners about the untapped market potential in Nepal? And why do you think it's important for businesses as well to look things from an international lens?
Now that I'm here in India, and that is one of my topic of discussion tomorrow, I really, I feel that the kind of audience that is listening to us, as somebody that works on brand marketing, from either from the agency side or from the client side, in that perspective, I have to say that please look into Nepal beyond mountains. It's not just mountains.
Yes.
Of course, we have some of the top mountains in the world. Among the top 10 mountains in the world, 8 of them are in Nepal, and of course, Mount Everest is also in Nepal. Therefore, in that sense, I can say namaste from the top of the world. But then, of course, we have hills, we have plains, which are very, very similar to India. In fact, it is bordering to 3 sides from India, and it is, the culture there is not very different from what you have in the northern part of India, Therefore, take all those into consideration. And then it's a very, very diverse country. Take diversity into consideration if you are planning to come down there.
Thank you so much for doing this.
My pleasure to be here, and thank you for inviting me.